And people were asking, how many calories should you eat during a round out on the course?
For one, I love that Rory knew the answer because I was kind of waiting for him to respond maybe with like, well, I eat X, Y, and Z and like say what he eats, or maybe like grossly underestimate, which a lot of people tend to do. You know, oh, well, I just have 3 bars and a couple shakes. And it's like, you know, some people might just be like, well, that's like 600 calories. And for people listening that's never tracked, they might like just people, you know, again, this isn't any no harm, no foul, but people don't know. So Rory's response was that he eats 1,200 calories during a round of golf, to which I was like, oh, I was like surprised in a good way. Mm-hmm. Just kind of looking at him. I mean, honestly, what does he weigh? 165 pounds. I'm not trying to offend. Well, he's 5'9", so he's taller than you. So he might weigh 170, 175. He's pretty lean.
Yeah, I mean, that'll probably be a pretty good guess. Maybe
but anyway,
I could have researched that before we got on here. But yeah, let's call it that.
But we've talked about this before on the podcast. Like, I'm always astounded at how much these guys walk because we know they get up. They typically train. A lot of these guys get up and train now. They practice. They practice shots. They practice holes. They're walking around when they're practicing. They're walking around the giant country clubs that they're at. Like just in general, just getting probably 30, 40,000 steps a day, I would imagine, like on a regular basis.
Yeah, I don't think people realize, you know, the added distance that they have to walk because they play courses that are so much longer than the average person. Yes. You know, like go to your country club, like even at ours, like I've skipped the back tees when I'm playing them. I'm like, I don't want to walk all the way back there.
Because like, I'm just gonna play like 5 minutes. Or
yeah,
whatever,
I'm just gonna play this hole.
I mean,
I'm just gonna play this tee.
You know, these guys are getting 10, 15 miles plus of walking in a day. So, you know, 1,200 calories to somebody that might be like, whoa, that sounds like a lot. But I'm like, well, yeah, man, he's an athlete. He's lean. You know, he's got good lean mass. Like that's a decent amount of calories. I was a little disappointed in his bars and proteins situation. But again, it's like obviously working for Rory. So it's like you look at some of these guys that are professionals. It's like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Mm-hmm. You know, for them, it's just probably about getting in the energy. But yeah, I mean, I think that what he's eating is awesome. And I think that more people should follow. I'd be interested to hear kind of like some of the other guys if they know like what their macro profile is. But I'd love to see like more carbs for Rory. I'm not sure what kind of bars he's eating. He didn't get that specific. He literally just said he eats like the protein bars and his protein shakes, which is a ton of protein. And I think my comment to you was like if I were coaching someone on that from just like a gut health perspective, I feel like I would get a little like gassy, rumbly after chugging protein shakes and only eating bars, because bars like as good as any bar can be, even if you were eating the best bar out there, which I couldn't even tell you because I don't eat bars like that, but they're processed. They just are. The best thing about bars is that they're convenient. Mm-hmm. So I think again for these guys that are traveling, they're taking planes places, like it's just probably easy for him to throw his protein powders and his bars no matter where he is. He doesn't have to worry about like refrigerating them, like all the things. But like I'm like, that's probably just like a lot of protein, and it's processed protein. I wouldn't recommend that for people that are out there on the golf course, like to like jump into that, especially if you're like not eating anything out there. For a lot of folks that go golfing and they don't eat, and maybe they're just drinking beer, or even those that are just drinking water, whatever, like, and you're not eating, you want to have something that's like got proteins and carbs in it. And maybe that's just like a little more gut friendly. That isn't just processed bars and processed protein shakes. It's just a lot. Rory's probably worked his way up, and again, they're getting so much steps during the day that like his body is probably just crushing through it. But yeah, for the average golfer, even for the golfer that's out there like being competitive, if you were really working with a nutritionist, I would say, get your carbs in, bring your bananas, your rice, that type of thing, like mixed with your like protein, and try and like eat something a little bit more like on the real food spectrum than like a processed food spectrum. Mm-hmm. And if you're having a bar, maybe just one and not like multiple plus protein shakes.
Yeah. I mean, it reminds me, I think I did see him. I can't remember who he was paired with, but I feel like it was at the Masters where they had a really long round one day and showed them all like over there eating sandwiches.
I've seen that.
Yeah, like they have their foil out there. They eat sandwiches or breakfast, whatever it is.
Totally. I think a sandwich is the best. I mean, honestly, that's what I would eat. Those sandwiches are one of my favorite foods, but they're very easy to digest. You got carbs in the bread, which is totally fine for these guys. You can throw in some lunch meat for protein, or even like peanut butter. Again, like just peanut butter has a decent amount of calories. So these guys, again, go through it. Jelly having nothing but carbs in it is awesome for these guys to like sustain a really long round and keep their energy levels up.
Right. And if you notice, you saw him doing it multiple times. It wasn't just like he devoured one. It was maybe he ate a little bit of it and he walked, and then he went to the next hole and you saw him like eating some more.
He was eating drinking. On like the second hole.
Yeah, they eat all. I mean, you gotta think like just because their round just started, they were practicing and warming up. So I mean, they've already like expelled some energy, right? And the questions that people were asking me, like, doesn't that seem pretty excessive? 1,000, 1,200 calories? Like, no. I was like, well, think about it. Like
1,200, not 1,000, 1,200.
Oh, excuse me, 1,200. But throughout his, think about how long you're out there golfing, and he practiced, he warmed up. It could have been 6 hours, right? And think how long are we awake every day? 16 hours.
16 hours.
You eat every 4 to 6, 4 hours anyways while you're awake. So, I mean, he's going to need a normal meal throughout that, and he's active. So, no. And what is his daily calorie requirement? Probably like 3,000, probably higher.
Oh, easily. That's what I'm saying. I mean, like,
so it's not
175-pound guy who's active just in general. They should be probably eating close to 3,000 calories. So boys, if you're out there not eating this amount of food and you're out there complaining that you're not gaining muscle or that you're performing like shit, 3,000 calories is nothing. That's normal as fuck. Rory, twice as many. Like if you're getting 30 to 40,000 steps a day. Now his body has adapted, of course, to the amount of like steps that he takes every day, right? Or else they would all be whittled away to nothing. Mm-hmm. But I would 4,000 calories for Rory in a day, especially competition day, no problem, no question.
Yeah, so 1,200 while he's out there on the course is no big deal.
No big deal.
And what I've always told my players when we talk about nutrition, what to eat on the course is, I don't ever want you to feel hungry, and I don't want you to really feel full. So that's why you saw Rory kind of eating a bit of it, or eating one bar. Maybe he had his shake a couple holes later. Whatever it is, you don't want to have that, just don't want to feel sluggish from being too full. And you definitely don't want to feel, your energy drop from being too hungry. So you want to find that just like nice, even level of energy throughout your round without like the highs and lows. Again, this person was asking me, they're like, well, what do you think about the bars and such? I'm like, well, I have to imagine that someone of Rory's caliber and experience, he has experimented. And he found out that, like we talked about, like travel and whatever is, he was busy or whatever. We don't know. But I have to assume that he's like tried a few bars. He likes the convenience of the bars. He found some that work for him. He found the protein powder that works for him. And that's what he does. And who knows? Like, I mean, they were playing the round like later in the evening. They were in Vegas. Maybe he was going to go out and have like a big dinner. So he just wanted a couple of snacks or something. Like they weren't playing multiple days in a row, just this one event. So many variables could have gone into it. But like ERIKA said, like you're probably better off getting like a real meal, like a sandwich or something. But to each their own. To each their own.
Go-to for traveling. I mean, for most of us that are locally playing golf, like you can pack a meal. It's not a big deal to bring a little bit of a cooler or just stick the sandwich in a bag, like whatever.
Yeah, it won't go bad in a few hours.
Totally won't. Fine. But yeah, I doubt Rory's having stomach cramps when he's playing. Like he's figured it out, just like we would practice nutrition in a long distance run. You literally practice your nutrition. No doubt, to your point, that his body has adapted to like whatever. And that's why I just think that they're so active that it probably doesn't matter. It's sort of like when like college football players just eat. They just eat, like, as long as they got calories in them, like it doesn't matter that it's pizza and hot dogs.
Right.
I'm not telling these people to, but I mean, they're just so active that it truly, like, it doesn't matter to a degree, so long as they're giving themselves like the sustenance and the energy.